Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Hey guys,
now.
Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. So much going on every front right now on the road to Ruta. Check out the posts I did this weekend on the private road. I wasn't able to do the Commitment of Traders report. I wasn't expecting much, but we did get some closing down of some of the commercial shorts on a week that didn't move really, which is, again, unusual that they would do such a thing. They had a short into the $40 rise, and they haven't closed it out. They closed out some of it, but they haven't closed it out. So always be ready for a slam. But on the flip side of that, there's a battle between the good guys and the bad guys on every front, not just gold and silver, not just the cryptos, not just the stock market, not just the bond market, not just the societal system. There's a spiritual war going on, and the tide has turned shockingly. Cliff I had a huge emotional tension build up until the first week in October. So lots more coming down the pike. He seems to be leaning on the side that it's something to do with the aliens, maybe that asteroid that's coming in, or non-asteroid, or whatever it is that's coming in, the Atlas, whatever it is. There's nothing I can do about that. People have asked me, well, what's going to happen? I don't know. I know the silver market. I know the silver's going to go absolutely bonkers shit crazy after $50. I know you should have physical silver in your own possession as much as you possibly can now, not yesterday. But I don't know what the whole meaning behind a lot of these changes are. Clearly, the radical left is in deep shit. You're seeing the right being radicalized, but not in a bad way, in a good way. And I'll get to that in a second. Turning more towards religion, believe it or not, or spirituality. I mean, if you're a religious person, you have to understand it's more about spirituality than in your relationship to whatever is going on outside of this physical world. More about that than the actual whichever religion you subscribe to. The very fact that there's so many tells you a very simple thing. Not one of them is right if they're excluding the rest, in my opinion. But there are people all around the United States saying that's the kind of, because of Charlie Kirk starting to understand what he was saying, that's the kind of person I want to be. And now we have Erica Kirk, who's going to be even bigger than Charlie. I feel that coming, which is a great thing. The radicalized satanic left. And I'm not saying everybody on the left is satanic and radicalized. A lot have just been brainwashed, truthfully. And a lot of the far right has been brainwashed. A lot of the United States of America and around the world has been brainwashed. But freedom is breaking out everywhere. I'm more leaning towards libertarian than any other type of political party, if you want to believe in a political party. I think the political parties are going to be gone. I'm 100% American. I believe in the Constitution, and we should return to it, and I think we are returning into it. And don't forget, we're one of the only countries on the planet that if the monetary system collapses, we already have something in place. Going back to our Constitution, we have gold and silver as money. Can we use crypto? I think absolutely. Will the government use crypto as part of a mandated part of what we use as money? They'd have to change the Constitution, so I don't think so, not right away. But people can. It's definitely in the Constitution that you have the freedom of money. You can use whatever you want as money. The government's different. They can't use whatever they want as money. And oh, by the way, Reggie Milton has the patent on stable coins and all that. So, and that Reggie patent, more and more. By the way, tomorrow, Tuesday the 16th, is the last day we're giving away the Veri tokens with the subscriptions, because we're running out of the ones we had bought just for this. So we are tomorrow, Tuesday the 16th of August 2025. It's September, the 16th of September 2025. Is the last day we're giving away one Veri token with every Road to Ruta private road subscription. Load it on paper wallet. Somebody asked me about paper wallets. don't buy paper wallets from somebody else. A paper wallet is probably way past people's comprehension of how to make a paper wallet. You don't just take a paper wallet generator, turn off your computer and the Wi-Fi and then print it out. No, you have to have a computer that's never touched the internet. You have to have a printer that's never touched the internet or Wi-Fi, and a cable that's never touched the internet or Wi-Fi, and a software program that is clean and audited and has never been exposed to the internet. It's very difficult. And then you got to keep it that way. And then destroy it or hide it somewhere. And then you can make a clean paper wallet. So don't do paper wallets. Even mine, I mean, we give away a paper wallet, but we have seen, at some point, we saw all the private addresses of the paper wallets we've given out. So I recommend to everybody, don't trust me even. Don't trust anybody. And it went through the mail to get to you. Did the mailman know what was in there and steam it open? And no, that's highly doubtful. But now you want your assets in your own possession. I like the Trezor. I like the Ledger because the software behind it is audited. Don't buy it third party. Buy it directly from the manufacturer. All this stuff. We've talked about this for a long time. But yeah, now's the time not to trust anybody. Don't trust anybody with third party. By the way, if you are a big money guy and storing your physical silver in any of the warehouses, COMEX, LBMA warehouses, that will be nationalized. There's no doubt in my mind, and mainly because it's all been rehypothecated anyway. But do not. It's kind of like, and I understand the concept. You want to sell it back into the system, and it's tough to get 1,000-ounce bars into the COMEX system or the LBMA system. It's a pain in the ass. It's expensive and all that. I understand that. But buying physical silver on the LBMA or on the COMEX and putting it into a COMEX warehouse and not withdrawing it is like, it's like buying gold because you think the bank might crash and you go back and put it in the safe deposit box that the bank will steal it from. That's the kind of thing. Although I think this will be government mandated. When the system falls apart, the government will mandate all the large stockpiles. Hey, for the good of the people, we're nationalizing all this. That's what the Road to Roota documents, that was one of the options. They don't say if people will approve it but you don't really want to get in that position. Get your metal in your own possession. And silver way over gold. By God, look at this. This is the gold-silver ratio over the past 25 years. And then we can go back in history. There's times when we were on a gold standard, there's times you'd see 100-to-1 gold-silver ratio. Back then, it was different because we were literally on gold and silver standard, mainly on a gold standard. And so those numbers were determined based on human input. These numbers you're seeing in the last 25 years were determined based on the whims of the silver and gold riggers. And that's why we're up at 86-to-1 right now. If you have gold, this is one of your last opportunities to swap the gold for silver. How many will you get? I don't know, 80 silver coins. I don't know what the cost to swap is. I know Andy Shackman at Miles Franklin said they're only charging commission on one side of that trade. So contact Miles Franklin, info@milesfranklin.com if you want to swap your gold for silver. I'm not saying gold's not going to do well. Gold would be fine. What I'm saying is silver is the thing to hold for a few reasons. If you think we're going to have a future, it would have to be high tech. There's no doubt in anybody's mind anymore. We are going to a future that will include electric cars, self-driving taxis. Solar is not stopping, and I have very, very interesting information. Just got published a paper on the end of silver in solar panels. The Silver Institute's been lying, and I've been screaming about this, but we just had a paper out of Europe. It's literally it's college professor type paper with all the statistics, and they're saying they don't know. They said because I bought the paper. Sorry, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Buy physical silver, get it in your own possession. Silver right now is at $42.50. Your downside risk is the moving averages, which are currently at $34 and $36.50. I don't think we'll see sub $40 silver anymore. There are good guys on the other side of this bet. So if they're ready to take down the system, which I think they are, you have to be in physical now. So get it. Go to your local coin shop. Get as much physical as you can scramble home. I don't recommend buying on credit cards and debt. It's a karma issue more than anything else. And you never know. They've dragged it on for 170 years, the price of precious silver. They could drag it on for 170 more if the good guys wanted it. There are good guys in charge of this shit. As far as what happened at the Charlie Kirk thing, who the fuck knows? Truthfully, it's like 9/11. We didn't know what really happened on 9/11 until years later when all the research was done. And there's a lot of crazy things going on. I think the most important thing is that people have changed. Society has changed based on what happened. And I think the crazy left is really in a bad place. They're getting canceled, getting fired for their jobs for posting stuff, and they did the same thing to the right. Don't forget that. I mean, it's like tit for tat, eye for an eye. During that the crazy cancel culture thing, they even had a name for it back then. Remember the left? It was the cancel culture. But now the right has been radicalized, is being radicalized even more, and it's more towards a standard that has rules, a more religious type of standard, and not necessarily any dogma of religion, but the concept of most religions are be good to your neighbor, don't lie, cheat, and steal. All that stuff is coming back, and I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing, and I've been preaching it for a long time. It would mean the opposite of what Dick Allgaier sees in the future, which is the bad guys controlling your life. And I've been yelling at Mr. Allgaier for quite a while, saying, hey, that future that you have is the bad guy's idea of the future. And we do have the potential to turn this ship around. And I think it's like a steamship coming down, flying into a harbor, but they got to make a left turn. You turn early, and it takes a while for the ship to turn. That turn happened when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, if you ask me. Again, I'm not going to go deep into exactly what happened and how it happened and all that stuff and what it is, because there's a zillion different theories. With everybody has proof, and then the proof gets discounted, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, but this doesn't matter. The overall turning of the ship, the wheel has been turned. Now it's getting 7 billion people to turn with it. We'll see what happens. Massive deliveries this month, and we're only halfway through the month. Again, most of them happening in the first couple days, but I'm just 250 million were done again on yesterday. And we're currently sitting somewhere around, I didn't go through it fully, somewhere around 65 million ounces. When we thought at the beginning of the month it would be more like 45 to 50 million ounces, now it's already at 65. So, plan accordingly if you have physical silver. So here is the release. PV industry could account for 40% of the global silver demand by 2030. And you think, what's the big deal, Bix? 30% or 40%. Your numbers at the Silver Institute were higher than that. I said, I know they were. And I saw David Morgan posted this, and I was like, cool. But then I'm running the numbers. I actually went in and bought the report and ran the numbers in their scenarios. So I have a pretty good idea of where even for the experts, and these guys even quote the Silver Institute a bunch in this paper, which is insane. But according to their methodology, and here's let me read it. New research from Europe shows that the global PV solar industry may require up to 14,000 tons of silver per year in 2030. So they have projections of how much solar will be implemented. Now, this report was written at the end of last year and published, submitted for publication at the beginning of this year, and finally got published. It's like, why didn't they publish it at the beginning of the year? It had to be technically reviewed and all this stuff because it's from the scientists of this university. You can play that card, or you can say, hey, they weren't ready to watch the price of silver go freaking moonshot. But now everybody is. So 14,000 tons of silver by 2030 would be 450 million ounces. And I ran the numbers, and I'm like, from the base case of what they had on their numbers, I ran them for what we were doing. They didn't know there'd be a 64% growth in solar in the first half of the year. We're looking at 340 million ounces according to this paper. Now, what is the Silver Institute going to do this time? They already changed historical numbers, and they had forecast a minus 1% growth in photovoltaic silver. That institution should be in an institution. The Silver Institute should be in an institution, not governing the Silver Institution, because they lie and they cheat and they steal. But they're going to have a hard time now, because these numbers are actually, they went down, the percentage, and it's even more than that, by the way, because they're saying, first of all, here's the report. Let me show you what it looks like. This is, if you click on the article, it gives you this. It's kind of a summary of the report. It gives you one graph, and that graph is right here. Oh, where is it? Right here. And this is the total silver tons per year, and this is the PV solar. But see this little mark right here? We're already there. And we're there according to Metals Focus, who does the, look at this. I mean, this is assuming a 60% TopCon is their high case. And we're already at 80% TopCon according to the Silver Institute. And we were there last year. So that's why I've been screaming, hey, everybody, look at solar. But this report really does throw itself under the bus and throws the Silver Institute under the bus, because it gives the parameters of how to calculate how much silver is being used in solar. Because you have to take all these variables right here, PERC and TopCon and HGT and others and all this stuff, and then each of them has an average amount of silver that's allocated to it. Now, yes, there is a new technology that has started to be implemented that uses a tiny amount of silver in the TopCon. And it's, whether or not it will work for 25, 30 years is unknown, but it has started to be implemented, but they're only going to do about 5%. Last year was about 5%. And this year's estimate, because you got to go in and change all the manufacturing lines, and people aren't going to do that. And first of all, the industry has zero money. The panels are so cheap, and they're so mass-produced and overproduced that the companies who are running normally, other than the Chinese company who get help from their government, well, so do the U.S., but the reality is solar is freaking cheap right now, no matter what the price of silver is. And that's a problem, because these manufacturers, they don't have to change their lines to get the low silver usage. They can stay with the tried and true TopCon way to manufacture. I'm talking about the industrial side of silver plants, and that's another thing. That's another problem with the Silver Institute's numbers, is they're saying, oh no, it's all going to be thrifted away, meaning new technologies is going to get rid of it. There's no need to make a new technologies when silver's only $40 an ounce. There will be over like $200-300 an ounce. Then they'll start implementing. Then whoever has the money, which is not many of these solar companies, will start implementing that technology. But until then, we're going to be gobbling up more and more silver. So according to them, first of all, they said TopCon was only 60%. As you can tell here, it's more like 80% in 2025. But again, this paper was written late last year and ready to publish at the beginning of the year. So really, I mean, it triples down on my research on solar used in silver. And it's, if you go to the front page at Road to Root, on the public page, this is how they got past it in 2023. They had to go change every red box, and they brought it from a 76% growth down to 38%, and it was a lie. And I have screamed about this enough, but they're going to try to do it again this year. But this report absolutely throws mud in the face of anything they try to do. And it's very thorough, and it even quotes the Silver Institute quite a bit. And they give you different graphs. And basically it says we are running out of silver and running out fast. And they did not expect in this report, they did not expect a 64% growth in solar in the first half of the year. And you might be wondering, well, where's all this physical silver coming from? My guess is that the large ETFs run by J.P. Morgan and BlackRock are rehypothecating that silver, so that physical silver is not there. That's my guess. But, well, who knows? Who knows, right? You won't know until the last time you try to withdraw your silver from a COMEX warehouse and find out, oh, shit, everybody's bankrupt and the silver's gone. So get your physical silver in your own possession. All right. Really interesting. World Gold Council wants to introduce digital gold. You're going to hear a lot about this. The World Gold Council has presented a new idea aimed at modernizing the gold market. According to this idea, there are plans to introduce a form of digital gold. Commerce Bank head of FX and commodity research, Tulai Nyung, notes. They're just trying to monetize it with cryptos. There's a lot of companies who already do that. This is nothing new other than coming from the World Gold Council. And this is 100% under the Reggie Middleton patent. And anybody who has cryptos needs to understand what the Reggie Middleton patent covers. Now, I did more digging into the Reggie Middleton patent, and it's a lot more complicated. The lawsuit is a lot more complicated. And whether Reggie even owns the patent or Veritaseum owns the patent, lots of lawsuits and sideways shit. It is, you thought the normal Reggie Middleton story of, the SEC came in and shut him down because the banks told him to, was weird. If you dive deep into the lawsuits that went on after with Veritaseum versus Reggie Middleton, his company versus himself, and who really owns the patent and what they were trying to do, it gets even more complicated. It's basically everything's in limbo right now. But I think at some point, if the SEC is letting everybody off the hook from the past, and everybody but Reggie, so when they do let Reggie off the hook, we will see what happens. Again, we are giving away the Veritaseum token for 2 more days, and I still look at it as a lottery ticket. It's a lottery ticket. You don't know if the patent will be reversed. You don't know what the U.S. government is going to say. You don't know how it will be treated in foreign countries. I know Japan and the U.S. have patented the technology. So all the DeFi would be under Reggie's patent. And NFTs and smart contracts and all that would probably be, at least in some way, under Reggie Middleton's patent. And that's pretty much 99% of cryptos right now. And it's 100% of what BlackRock wants to do. They want to securitize everything, and they want to be the company to do it. And it's bullshit. This was already invented, and they're going to have to go to Reggie or Veritaseum or whoever it is. I mean, owning a Veritaseum token only gets you so far. And whether or not the tokens will be worth anything in a system where Reggie gets the patents back or doesn't get the patent back, or gets his case thrown out and gets the 98 million of the 100 million tokens back. Again, it's like a lottery ticket. But if that lottery ticket pays off, boom, Veritaseum would be right around the price of Bitcoin. And I don't know what the price of Bitcoin would be, truthfully. I was in Bitcoin very early, and I love the concept of Bitcoin, but the core developers have literally locked it up to make it a store of value, which I think was wrong. I think Roger was correct. But at the same time, it gave birth to all the other cryptos who have a ton of great business ideas and concepts. The whole concept of sharing your broadband and hard drive and processing power on every computer on the planet intermeshed together in a decentralized network. That's what the Theta guys invented. And interesting, in the Theta AMA, Ask Me Anything, the Theta Eurocon was going on. One of the last questions was, hey, you guys are really, you're proud of your patents and you're an upstanding company. Why aren't you doing anything about the Reggie Middleton patent on he talked about swaps. The question wasn't about swaps. It was the Reggie Middleton patent. And Wes chimed in, and he didn't know anything about patents. And he said, I talked to a buddy of mine. So what? I don't think anybody will do anything about the Reggie Milton patents, and I don't think they should do anything until there's some kind of legal ruling about what specifically these patents cover. It's such a broad, wide range. I'm not saying, just every crypto investor and every crypto company should keep in mind what is patented and what is not. Because, I mean, the Theta guys are proud of their patents. They expect them to be lived up to, so why aren't they living up to the Reggie patent? Was the concept of the question. I agree with the question. But then again, we don't know how much of the entire crypto world, there's a lot of it. He would argue all of it, other than, standalone blockchains. But legally, and that's basically what it comes down to ultimately, is legally what does it cover as far as patent law. And anybody who knows patent law with foundational technology, who knows, right? And how much would it cost to use Reggie's patent or divert around Reggie's patent in a different way? And that might be done too. Who knows? Right now, the SEC threw Reggie practically in jail, froze everything he had, and then the patent office in the U.S. and Japan granted him all these patents. It's like, are they trying to throw a monkey wrench into cryptos? Are they trying to confuse us? Absolutely. And we'll see what happens. So, yes, I do highly recommend holding at least one Veritaseum token for the off chance that, that Reggie's patent is really on the entire DeFi / smart contract / definitely metals. Tokenization of metals and stocks and bonds. It's talked about, and Reggie's got that Veritaseum token that he's done it, and he that was one of his core businesses back in the day that the SEC shut down. And it wasn't the SEC. I mean, the SEC was the henchman for the banking cabal and the administration at the time and all this stuff. So anyway, keep that all in mind. So much going on. I want to end with this. The White House is going after the radicalized left, and this will be intense. So as crazy as the radicalized left is very small. I mean, they're vocal, but how far are you going to take the insanity? And people, I live in California, and everybody thinks, oh my God, how can you live in California? Did you know 40% of the people voted for Trump in California with the cheat numbers? And it's just this small group of the radicalized left, and then you got the kind of leftist idiots that don't understand that the Democrats are the party of war now all of a sudden, and everything has changed and flipped on their head, and there's a lot of crazy people, and the whole being pro or against Israel and the which type of Judaism and all that. Whew, there's a lot of shit coming down the pike for the United States of America and the world. By the way, if you saw, it was like 1 million people were marching on in England, in London, saying this is bullshit. We've been invaded, and that's what Trump would say. He just said it early, but that was the idea. And Elon spoke at that thing and said, "Hey, here's the deal. They let these immigrants into your country so that they could get their votes, and to break down the system of nationality, because that's the worst thing for a government is people to be nationalized, like as in loving their nation." So yeah, lots coming down. Here's what I want to end with. And if you're wondering, well, what does all this mean in society? We see the left running for the hills and scared to death that they might lose their job as a gender studies professor at an institution that gets all their money from the government. The right is getting radicalized too. And there's a great video of a person that has been radicalized by the Charlie Kirk situation. Listen to what he says and think about, say, 100 million of the 300 million people believing the same thing.
I don't come from any kind of money, and I've never owned a suit before. My wife, she bought me this suit. Our anniversary's coming up, and we have a nice anniversary plan. We make a little bit of money now, and I'm proud to say that because That's certainly not where either one of us comes from. And I feel good in this suit, man. And I just want my wife to know she made me feel good. It's a $300 suit. I ain't never had nothing like this before in my life. And I tell you what, okay, video flip here, so I'm gonna lose some of you. I didn't know Charlie Kirk, never met that guy before in my life. And something else that I've never done before in my life is believe in God. I'm gonna wear this suit to church. I'm gonna go to church. I'm going to try to be a better father, husband, and leader for my family. They deserve that. My phone fell down. I guess that's the devil trying to mess me up right now. I'm gonna try, y'all. Look at this suit. I look good, bro. My wife made me feel this way. Charlie's made me feel this way. Yeah. Message over.
Wow. That's the radicalized right. Imagine if everybody started thinking that way, thinking differently, making themselves better people instead of, we're going to war. This is what scares the left, the deep state, the people who want to split up our country, is not reacting with, I'm going to go beat the shit out of a bunch of liberals. Is reacting like, I'm going to be a leader for my family. I'm going to live a better life. Individuals around the world. Interesting. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. I know it's hard to be on the road to Ruta. I was all over the place today, but yeah. So tomorrow's gonna be the last day we give away a Very token. This is we give away 1 token with every private road subscription. It's loaded on paper wallet and mailed to your front door for people who really don't know. You can't get Very tokens anymore because you can't really find them on exchanges. Even the dexes are kind of out of them. And then Trade Ogre. I think they've gone belly up. Another exchange has gone belly up. They apparently have frozen in the exchange 9,000 Very tokens. All the exchanges will be the same. So if you keep your cryptos in any exchange, you don't want to do that. Coinbase will be gone. Gemini, Kraken, you name it. Get your coins in your own possession. Not your keys, not your coins. I highly recommend hardware wallets for cryptos. I'm not sure how long it'll take for the crypto after the crash. There'll be no exchanges open, so who knows what anything will be worth. But I think silver is the number one thing you need during this crash. And then as we rebuild, the cryptos will be come back to life. And don't try to I'm going to play the bottom and buy the crypto at the bottom, and then I'm going to get it cheap and then I'll ride it up because I know cryptos are our future. Here's the problem. There's been no exchanges open. We've already seen it. When cryptos crash, all the exchanges kind of shut down. Oh, we're having technical difficulties. No, they're loading up on the coins themselves. But this will be different because these exchanges won't open back up. Because they're 100% linked to the fiat monetary system. So just keep that in mind. Physical silver, and you got to be on the sidelines with your silver rocking chair, your cryptos in your own possession, your friends and family, some food and water, and more friends and family who are going to be looking to you for answers. Be that leader that guy was talking about to your friends and family. All right, this is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you guys later.